Hello and welcome to the SAT 123 prep program. Today, we're going to be teaching you how to read.
Are you saying I don't know how to read?
Wait, no, stop. No.
So first of all, you gotta be very, very quick with this stuff. I mean, not too quick, but you gotta be pretty quick. This is not a full passage that I have here, but this is part of it to demonstrate how you should be reading. So on the SAT, you have to be able to read a passage within 5 minutes. Sounds kind of difficult, but it really isn't as long as we apply certain skills. And the first skill that you have to use is something that I actually hate because teachers love it. They always tell you to do this, and that's to annotate. They're always telling you to annotate, but it really works, especially on the SAT. So what you want to do is you want to annotate in order to be able to focus, right? When you're underlining things and you're figuring out what's important and whatnot, your mind is going to be flowing and trying to remember all these things compared to when you're not annotating. Because if you're not annotating, your mind is really just like, oh, this is not important, this is not something that we got to remember. And that's why it just goes away. So, yeah, for example, I'm reading and I go, in today's idea driven economy, as soon as I see those words, I'm annotating it. I'm thinking to myself that this is a nonfiction text and I shouldn't be looking for characters or anything. I should be looking for like main ideas, what type of research they're doing, or whatever. So they say the cost of time is what really matters. So I know this has something to do with time, but specifically what? With the constant pressure to innovate, it makes little sense to waste countless collective hours commuting. So the most efficient and productive regions are those in which people are thinking and working. So obviously this passage is going to be about commuting. How people get to different places like a workshop with bus, train, and whatnot. And they continue on by talking in the next few paragraphs. And now we'll get into the second skill that you have to have, and that's actively thinking. As you're reading these things, you have to be thinking to yourself, what is this going to be about? What are they talking about? Who are they talking about? Why are they saying these? So you have to have all these different questions in your mind. Well, not too many, but you're just asking questions as you go along to make your mind flow more. As you're engaging yourself more by asking these questions, you'll be more likely to remember what you're reading. So you continue on, you're reading, or I'm reading. The auto-dependent transportation system has reached its limit in most major cities and mega regions. From this, I'm thinking, oh, so they're talking about that there's not enough space left for cars and all that. There's too much going on. So how do we solve this? So that's like a question. How are they going to propose a solution? Commuting by car is among the least efficient of all our activities, not to mention among the least enjoyable, according to detailed research by the Nobel Prize Nobel Prize winning economist Daniel Kahneman and his colleagues. So we'll think, oh, maybe this person, they talk about cars as being least efficient. Maybe they dislike cars. Maybe they're trying to say that we shouldn't use cars to commute. So having these questions in your mind helps you to get your mind flowing and think properly. This leads us to our third skill. This is something very, very important. That's to be able to go back into a passage. When you're reading the questions, when the questions come up, oftentimes they'll ask you about a specific line or specific part of the question. So you always need to remember what the specific sequence of the story is. You need to remember, like, oh, paragraph 1, they're talking about commuting needs to be efficient and whatever. Second paragraph, they're talking about cars. Cars are bad for commuting. And then third paragraph, whatever that may be, what is that talking about? So if you know a specific sequence, you'll be able to go back to the passage quickly in order to answer a question. So it's very important that you know the sequence, because most of your time answering the questions will require you to go back to a certain part and answer it, and you need to be able to do that quickly. If you can do it quickly, then you'll be able to save a lot of time, because sometimes I would get stuck trying to figure out what part of the story they're talking about, where it is, and that just takes away a lot of time. The faster you can get yourself to do it, the more time you'll have left by the end of it, and you won't be stuck, trying to read like 2 passages left and no more time. for the reading section. The fourth skill, this is also extremely important that I believe, and some people might not realize just how valuable the skill is on the SAT because it isn't something you can tangibly measure the effect of, and that skill is confidence. You have to be confident in yourself or else you're going to mess up. Obviously, the SAT is nerve-wracking, but we need to be confident in our abilities. To gain that confidence, doing a practice test and a bunch of them, I guess, could help. Doing a bunch of different questions, because if you get in some practice, it will naturally increase your confidence level because we feel more familiar with the questions. It's like meeting an old friend that we've known for a long time, but in this case, it's an old enemy. We all hate the SAT, but we got to take it. And yeah, those are 4 skills that are important. So first skill, you have to be able to annotate. You should always annotate. It may be dislikable, but we need to be able to use this skill in order to get our mind to focus in on it. And then relating to that is the second skill of actively asking questions in our mind as we go along, thinking about it as we're reading, not just taking in the information, but having our own wonderings about what is going on, because that also helps our minds to flow. And the third skill is being able to remember the sequence of the story, remembering the general ideas so that when the questions ask about something, you can go back to the passage and refer to a specific line that you need to go to. And the fourth skill is having confidence. I think this is the biggest thing, because if you're not confident in yourself, you're likely not going to be able to get far. You're going to be doubting yourself. You're going to be going back and forth trying to redo an answer because you think it's wrong, and that just wastes a lot of time. And it gets you to be more and more nervous, and it just messes you up completely. And that's all for this video. So those are the 4 most important skills you need to have on the SAT reading section when you're reading the passages. Thank you for watching.